So the entire conversation about Epic Games perhaps pushing their metaverse out too early, like it's great now, don't get me wrong, and a lot of people are really happy with it, but throughout Chapter 5, Battle Royale suffered, a lot of the modes were unfinished, a lot of people thought, like, there's a variety of different reasons as to why people weren't a fan of the metaverse when it first came out. So the conversation has been brought back to the top of the Fortnite community again. After one clip went viral, we're going to take a look at that. I'm going to give my thoughts on the matter, and of course, I want to get everybody else's opinion on the matter as well. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. Quick transition. So this is the clip that was making the rounds with the Fortnite community recently. It was from the Sweet and Sour podcast. Michael crashing out over Fortnite is so base. Let's take a look at this clip, and sorry if you hear my notification over there. We're going to take a look at this clip, we're going to react to it, and of course, we're going to get everybody's thoughts on the matter afterwards.
Epic needs to stop adding fun game modes and then just not updating them, or adding them too early, like Lego Fortnite.
Oh my god.
Here's the problem. I would understand what he's talking about, besides maybe with Lego Fortnite and for Festival. Like, we're going to talk a little bit more about it, but for Festival, like, what really was there that you could possibly add to Festival? Rocket racing? Then yeah, you know what? We can have an agreement there.
It was so fun for about 3 hours.
It was fun until we milked the content dry and there was nothing else to do.
Yeah, it was just repeat.
It was repetitive,
yeah. It's like they needed to cook it in the oven for like
it was so fun.
6 more months.
Like that first hour or two.
I know. It's kind of frustrating.
I had a blast.
It was really good.
The problem is, like, I think they're exaggerating a little bit by saying it was fun for the first hour or two. They could have a well flushed out Lego Fortnite game mode, and I feel like that people would burn themselves out, like, too early, no matter what. People do with brand new seasons all of the time in Fortnite. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that one, but it has some merit.
They updated ballistics once, no new maps, one map. You get one map.
I see. So they're just like kind of early releasing everything.
Yeah, to see what sticks, but then there's the thing, it's like all the hype of it dies down.
Yeah.
And you should have just released it with 3 fucking maps. Please, God, Epic.
Ooh, I don't know if they were just releasing it to see what sticks. I feel like if they wanted to see what sticks, they could test it out with, like, different creative maps, not uploading something that's in a complete early access like Ballistic. I believe Epic Games, and from what we've seen from that old photo from Donald Mustard too, this was the vision for a very, very long time. And I don't mean to sit down and pick apart just one thing that Michael had to say. Like, I just don't think that's the reason for Epic Games doing what they did. They have a huge partnership with Lego, a must succeed. What was it? Not a mission, but something about it was a must succeed within Epic's plans above everything. Rocket racing, Festival, all of it. This was part of Fortnite's idea before, like, I want to say, what was it, 2018, 2017, with Donald Mustard's initial idea. So that I don't believe to be correct, but did Epic Games release all of the modes too early? You've heard a lot of conversation on this back and forth. I personally think that they could have released it with a little bit more content, but I still don't really believe that it was released early, because take a look at Battle Royale. They're probably doing the same thing as what they did with Battle Royale, because OG Fortnite was an incredibly unfinished game. It just ended up being one of the greatest things of all time. We just re-experienced it with OG Fortnite coming back. Chapter 1, Season 1. How stale was it to a lot of players? A lot of people, guys, honestly, sit here and tell me, would you really, really enjoy it if it wasn't for re-experiencing OG Fortnite or experiencing OG Fortnite for the first time? Realistically, compared to the rest of the game and how it's developed, it was very stale. It was very bare bones. And if you enjoyed it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I don't think that's where Fortnite was really going. I think they're just releasing a game and developing it as they go. You could argue, too, that it is easier for Epic Games to kind of run the game in the direction that the players kind of want it to go, where it's like, okay, we have this update to the players like it, perhaps we should move forward this way. They're doing that with Ballistic right now. They're going to have us play on shell maps to see if we like certain layouts before they actually build the entire game for us. We still want to make a video on that, and I still have mixed opinions on that, but I think that Epic Games did a good job. The only problem with what the metaverse kind of launched forward with was that Battle Royale suffered. A lot of people didn't like a lot of things going on with Battle Royale. A lot of people didn't like that the live event team was moved and the storyline was in shambles. A lot of things that were beloved by the Fortnite community were kind of put to the side to push on this metaverse idea, and it was kind of all at once too. People were like, whoa, we don't really like this. It's a big change. We're not really feeling this, and Battle Royale is clearly suffering. I don't know if that was Epic Games' intent. Maybe they thought they could go by with the updates that we did get in Battle Royale, because I can see the vision there. It just wasn't what the players really liked. They tried to take Battle Royale in a different direction. It didn't work, and they course corrected in Chapter 6. I think that was the problem with the metaverse. But for all of those other modes, like, for them being released, they released it just like they did with OG Fortnite. They had a pattern for success already. We have this unfinished game mode. Do people like it? We're going to push it out. We're going to update over time. Ballistic is literally in early access. I think something that a lot of people are also missing with this conversation is Burnout is totally real. People will play a new game. Like, how many people played Lego Fortnite for like a week straight and ran out of things to do? And it doesn't even have to do with Lego Fortnite. These same people, no matter what game mode you give them, no matter how much content you give them in Lego Fortnite, brand new season, people play it all day and all night. Battle Royale stale to them. I mean, like, honestly, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that is something that a lot of people do that we really need to take into consideration. And I'm not going to lecture you on it, but because we've talked about it so many times throughout the entire channel, but everybody's dopamine receptors are also fried, and I think that is a very underrated reason as to why people aren't enjoying things right now. Very, very underrated. We can talk about that another time again if you guys would like. But what else could they have really added? Like, if you want to talk about Lego, they did a great job updating that from the get-go and throughout Chapter 5 with events, brand new additions, tweaking the game. I think Lego is separate. They did a fantastic job. With Festival, I think it runs well of like how Festival's supposed to run. What could you really do to update Festival? I don't believe that to be unfinished, to be honest with you. I think that Festival is pretty complete. You can just keep adding new songs. I know they added Battle or whatever it was. I've actually never played it, but when I go to play Festival, I know what I'm getting. It's a Rock Band Guitar Hero type game and seems pretty finished to me. Rocket Racing is where you have me, okay? The problem was, like, Epic's goal was to make it like a hardcore racing game, and it just didn't hit. A lot of people didn't like it. Epic Games, did we even have word if Rocket Racing got scrapped? I don't know if we ever did, but Rocket Racing is kind of where you have me. But I don't know if I would even call it unfinished, though, because Epic Games might have fully developed the game, new maps coming out, a lot of car cosmetics, like that was their goal with it, and it didn't hit. So I personally don't agree with what everybody has been talking about in this, but I do understand where people are coming from. No matter what Epic Games could have released, I still do think that people would burn themselves out, and I think that they've done a good job, and people are kind of spoiled when it comes to Fortnite with the amount of updates that we get. For Ballistic right now, I am personally really, really enjoying it. Would I have liked to see an update earlier? Yes, but a lot of people were playing in this early access game, and Epic Games talked about it even being early access just like Battle Royale. Perhaps Ballistic will have the same fate as Battle Royale and end up being a fantastic game. I do believe that. But of course, guys, it's not just about how I feel. I want to include the community's response to this as well. I sincerely apologize. I did not post this. Usually I go through and talk about, hey guys, I asked you this on Twitter. Here you go. Here's all the opinions that replied. But unfortunately, I needed a video to make today and I didn't have time to wait for everybody to comment. So apologies for that. We are just getting replies over from that initial post from the Sweet and Sour pod. Okay, let's begin with Fox Knox. Lego Fortnite has added a lot of stuff. There are multiple biomes like Grasslands, Frostlands, Dry Valley, Shores, and the Lost Isles. There are tons of new weapons and an endgame boss now. Yeah, it kind of goes with what I was saying. Like, Lego Fortnite has done a fantastic job updating throughout the entirety of Chapter 5, but if you want to, like, exclude Lego Fortnite and talk about the other modes, then I kind of get where you're coming from. It's 2 versus 1. I just think what Michael brought up in saying Lego Fortnite, out of everything that he could have brought up, like, whether it's Ballistic, whether it's Festival, I think that would have been a better idea than Lego Fortnite, but I still understand his point, okay? Let's continue on to Violatar. Real. Lego, even with its updates, is somehow such an extremely repetitive and boring, a game mode with nothing to do after like 1 to 2 hours of gameplay, and it's very grinding in the worst way possible. Minecraft is somehow 1,000 times less repetitive and grindy. Minecraft, you gotta compare the level of games that we're talking about over here. I believe with time, and I could be wrong on this one, I'm interested in some pushback in the comment section down below. I believe that Lego Fortnite has the potential to rival Minecraft one day. I'm talking years down the road. Look at all the updates that Minecraft has had over the years, okay? Minecraft is one of the greatest games of all time. In comparison to a brand new game in Lego Fortnite, I don't really think it's a fair comparison, but I do understand that I find Lego Fortnite repetitive, but I haven't played Lego Fortnite in a long time, so perhaps that has been a little bit outdated, but that's just me. That's just me, and I think that it will get better with time, but Epic Games has been updating it. Let's continue on to what Killer Wolf 3443 had to say. Festival was so promising. We had main stage first and had a bunch of great music to put into later where people were score chasing to get the #1 or top 10 spot. We even had a sneak peek of real tournament after battle stage was put in with a lot of great rhythm game content creators to see who could take home the Golden Rift Master. We had this game mode for over a year, same as Lego, and the only update they did was battle stage. Yes, the maps get updated to have the theme of the artist they pick, but nothing else was added. Only new music every Thursday, which is great in all honesty, keeping the music alive in that aspect, but they haven't continued progressing any of it in terms of adding battle stage power-ups to attack the other people with, or the promise continue of an FFCS for people wanting to comply with the rhythm aspect of it. I have no idea what that is, guys. I am so sorry about that. I don't know what Killer Wolf is talking about with that. Same with LEGO, it's been out for almost a year or more, but no major content changes have been made. If Michael can be the voice of change on these aspects, as well as many of others that want these changes to make them happen, then I'm all for it hands down. We need Fortnite to be the game it wants to be for not only its players, but the company itself. Again, I will push back on the LEGO. LEGO has been updating. Perhaps the updates haven't been for everybody, but Epic Games is going to learn that. It's growing pains with this. And I personally would rather have these updates and have the LEGO Fortnite mode available for us, but I know that not everybody feels that way. I think they've been doing a good job with LEGO so far. I've been paying attention to the updates. I just personally haven't played it in a long time, but I still have been paying attention to what's going on with LEGO. For Festival, again, I don't know what else they really could add. Like, maybe it's just because I'm not like a hardcore Festival fan, but I don't see the battle stage as a big deal. I play Festival to play my favorite songs and sing along with my squad. Is that not the goal that everybody else has in mind? Please, again, correct me if I'm wrong in that, but I don't see a problem with either of them. Let's continue on to what Jojo Josiah had to say. Not gonna lie, I feel like this is the way a lot of people feel about the new Epic modes. I feel like they are amazing on release, but a long-term lifespan is the one that usually suffers. Curious the reasoning behind it. Michael, always spitting. Yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, a lot of people definitely do feel this way. A lot of people definitely do. Plus, you have this clip that has been really making the rounds. I don't know how many views it has at this point, but I'm making a video like probably a week after everybody's been talking about it. It has so many impressions. And with the conversation brought up like that, a lot of people are going to, you know, come to the same opinion about it. Let's continue on to what Archer had to say. Epic would rather release multiple unfinished game modes than touch Save the World with a 10-foot pole. I still don't understand why some of these things like Save the World are not part of the metaverse. Why isn't Imposters part of the metaverse? I personally would like to see fun game modes like Air Royale part of the metaverse. And why is Save the World not part of the metaverse? I don't personally understand that. But guys, let me pause you for just a second over here. I have been advertising my supporter creator code in these videos because, as you know, I have been grinding on YouTube as hard as I possibly can to be the sole provider for my family, and you guys have been helping me so much with all of that. Again, I am incredibly grateful. I ask that if you do not have a supporter creator code that you're using in the item shop, please consider using code CLEN. It is helping me more than you will ever know. Thank you so much for listening. I'm trying to make these little interruptions as quick as possible. Let's continue on to what Heck had to say. It's a lose-lose. Either give new content and modes time in the oven so they could last more than a week, or abandon those modes. Either way, people be angry for it being slow and dead. Really hope they pick the former, but I doubt it. I'll gladly wait if it meant lasting content. I know a lot of people that would like to wait too, but the problem is the word dead. A lot of people are comparing these numbers to Fortnite Battle Royale and Fortnite, even Fortnite Reload at this point. A lot of people are saying, you know what, well, you know, we only have this many players, game's dead, but what about, like, Epic Games needs to work on gaining an entire new genre of fan base. Like, these things take years. We need the LEGO fans, the Rock Band fans, we need the racing game fans. That takes a long time to gather. It really does. So I get that. And I know why people would want them, and I'm not saying you're wrong for wanting that, by the way, if anybody is disagreeing with me. I'm not saying that's wrong to rather wait for new modes. I just don't see the issue with the way that they did do it. The only issue that I did see is letting the main mode Battle Royale, what everybody came for, suffer. If Battle Royale remains okay, then the game will be okay, and they can update everything as they please. And look at Chapter 6. That just proves that. Battle Royale is in a very healthy state right now, so people aren't upset with the metaverse. In fact, people are turning and really enjoying the metaverse. So I do believe that Chapter 6 has proved that. But let's continue on to what Restro had to say. He's absolutely correct. They pushed out all the metaverse game modes too early. They all needed a couple more months, some with even an extra year of development. They can still recover from this, but they kind of shot themselves in the foot with the early release of these modes. That I disagree with. I think you just need to keep updating it. Look at I know it's a little while ago, it's the only one I can think of, when LEGO had the Star Wars event. A lot of people just came in. Nobody cared about the previous progression of LEGO. A lot of people wanted to check it out, and a lot of people loved it. Epic Games has turned the opinion on people so many times. They can do it again with all of these modes, but again, I understand where Restro's coming from. Emmanuel had this to say. He's absolutely right. Why does Epic feel the need to release new game modes every year at the start of each chapter? If a mode lacks content, nobody will play it long term, like Brick Life, which has very low player count. It might have a low player count right now, but as they continue to update it, and again, I don't think you're wrong for thinking that they should have waited to release Brick Life, okay? If they did, sure, but it's just as easy for them to continue to make good updates and build it over time, then more people will enjoy it. More LEGO fans will try it out, more people will like it. You hear about one solid update, and that's all it takes. One big solid update is all it takes for people to try the game mode out again and get all hyped up for something like LEGO Brick Life. Let's continue on to Crafty Plays LEGO Fortnite. When we voice opinions like this, have we even bothered playing the game since release? I understand his initial point, but Mechanical Mayhem, Farm Field, Star Wars, Hardcore Mode, Lost Isles, Odyssey. 4 LEGO passes, free builds, dozens of decor, quest, journal, and so much more in just year 1. That is a very good point. A lot of people, and again, myself included, I've been paying attention to the LEGO updates, okay? So I feel like I can have a say in this. I haven't played LEGO in a long time, but I have been paying attention again, okay? So I'm not just yapping for the sake of yapping over here, but a lot of people really like to crap on all these metaverse modes when they haven't been paying attention to the updates and they have not been paying attention to it since launch. Very, very solid point. And of course, everybody can comment on whatever they would like, but a lot of people still played LEGO when it first came out, didn't like it, didn't pay attention to anything else. And again, this might not apply to you. I'm just talking in general over here. They hold the same opinion without even like giving the game another chance. They don't have to give the game another chance, but it perhaps might be a little bit of a skewed opinion. The Mitch Zone had this to say: I'm still firmly holding my belief that a melee anime superhero fighting mode with unique special abilities would save Fortnite. Crap like Goku vs Naruto, Omni-Man vs Superman, and Sub-Zero vs Scorpion would be possible. I don't care who thinks it's dumb, it'll be my new main. Dude, I completely agree with this, and this is something that we're going to be touching on in all of the ways to fix Fortnite, how I would handle the metaverse, things like that. I would love that. If Epic Games could ever pull that off, that would have one of the greatest potentials for any game whatsoever in the entirety of gaming history. I really, really do believe that. And Epic Games not done with the metaverse, man. They're going to continue to bring more modes. Sync had this to say: I disagree when it comes to LEGO. They've catered to that game mode fairly well with Star Wars, Lost Isles, and Storm King updates. On the other hand, Ballistic has been hung out to dry and subsequently forgotten. Maybe Epic stretched themselves too thin. I don't know if Ballistic's been forgotten. Ballistic just lost a lot of its hype on launch. But again, they'll get it back, man. It'll all be okay. I really, really do believe that. It's an early access. All these modes are in early access. Makes for an interesting conversation. I would love to know what you guys think about this down below. Thank you so much for watching. Why don't you check out this video on screen? Again, have been talking about it a little bit recently, but it's a complete guide to fixing Fortnite. I am working on part 2, but this is the foundation of it. You need to check it out. It's one of my best videos, in my opinion. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. Take care.